this brings us to our final section, the art of sound, right? And I do call it the art of sound because there is some subjectivity to this, okay? You can basically give a mix to any 10 engineers, and they will all come up with something slightly different, but they will all have lots of things in common. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the mindset and the approach, whether as the sound engineer or as the musician, what you should be thinking about here. All right. So first of all, the rules, the so-called rules, they are guidelines. They are not hard rules. I think it's one of the things that, musicians, when people try to learn about music theory, people get really turned off because they don't like the idea that this music theory, these rules that people have generated, are going to, it's going to impact their musical creativity, right? But what you start to find out is that the theory did not come first, all right? The practice and application of it came first, and then they came up with the rules and the guidelines later in order to describe everything that's happened beforehand, okay? So they're not hard rules, but I definitely don't discount them before you've had a chance to actually try them out, all right? Have a vision, then execute it, okay? I think it's pretty common for people to basically just walk in and expect that I'm just going to make it sound good when I get there, okay? But my favorite phrase that I've been going off of a lot lately is maximum preparation allows for maximum creativity. And so I've been asking the sound engineers a lot more, and even some of the other tech people, to say, hey, before you come in, just make sure you listen to the songs before you come on in, right? It's hard to understand what goal you're trying to achieve if you don't have the vision and the preparation beforehand in order to try and execute it, okay? Don't try to fix it on the fly, or don't try to come up with the vision on the fly. Have a vision when you walk into the room, and then try to execute it. Make adjustments as needed, but have a vision and execute it. All right, good sound is subjective. So what do I mean by that? I mentioned at the beginning, you put 10 sound engineers and have them mix a song. They're all going to come up with something slightly different. But I don't think that you would say that those 10 professional sound engineers sounded bad. They just sounded different. They have their own artistic spin and creativity. And that's the thing, is that's one of the coolest parts about being a sound engineer. If you're sciencey and geeky like me, I totally am, I know it, I've accepted that, all right, then the science part excites you, okay? But the artist in me also wants me to have creative control, to put my own stamp of creativity on it. And so you're going to have some weeks that are better than others, and you might realize as you start doing it, you might hear things different. You might say one week that you think your mix was great, and then the next week come back and listen to the exact same mix and go, oh, what was I thinking? That didn't sound good at all, okay? So good sound is subjective, but that doesn't mean that objectivity gets thrown out the window, okay? Take the time, understand your craft, and then use that artistic brain of yours to come up with something really, really cool and creative. All right, sound engineers are members of the band, okay? I don't want there to be that divide of like the outside looking in. I think it's awesome when sound engineers show up to band practice. That's really, really cool, okay? Because again, that having a vision, then executing it, okay? Listening to the songs beforehand is good. Seeing the band practice beforehand, that's even better. You get a chance to actually listen and come up. And don't forget, too, that at the end of the day, all of the musicians have to pass through your hands. They have to pass through your ears, okay? And so it doesn't make any sense to say, these guys are off doing their own thing and I'm off doing my own thing. No, you are a member of the band, even though you're not on stage, and you're an important member of the band. In fact, everybody who's on the tech crew is a member of the band, okay? So have that mindset and say, all right, I'm going to do my due diligence, and I'm going to do my part, and I'm actually going to practice and prepare, just like my musicians have to practice and prepare for how I'm going to be a good sound engineer that week. All right, so we're going to talk about one of my favorite rules that I ever stumbled across. I wish I could discover the source material for this because way back in my early days of being a sound engineer, I bought a book that discussed all of the science parts of sound in there, but they introduced at the very beginning what they called the good rule. And I want to explain what that good rule is. The good rule goes something like this. A good musician with a good instrument through a good microphone and a good mixing desk, going through good speakers in a good room with a good sound engineer equals a good sound. All of these things are parts that the sound is going to have to pass through, and a deficiency in any one of those areas is something that you can never get back. All right? You can utilize things to the best of their ability, but at some point, if you don't have good speakers, or if you don't have a good instrument, or if you don't have a good musician or a good sound engineer, you can't get those things back, right? They're all this one big chain of the system, okay? Now, at the beginning, me being the nerdy, tech guy, just immediately went, oh, well, I have to go out and buy all the best stuff, and I have to, to get the best equipment, and I have to do everything, okay? And I'm not diminishing the fact that those things aren't important. As somebody who has sunk tens of thousands of dollars into that gear, and I love every second of it, it is important. But I have to tell you, these things are not equal on the list, okay? Some of these are worth more than others. And in fact, the two that are the most important are the musician and the sound engineer. I have heard professional drummers play on a Hello Kitty drum set and make it sound amazing. It sounds awesome, and it's really great to look at as he sits there and bangs it and complains that he didn't get the Pokemon drum set. Like that's, you get a great musician, it doesn't matter how bad the instrument is, they're gonna make it sound good one way or another, all right? Now, does it sound as good as the, $6,000 or $10,000 drum kit they're used to playing? No, they're playing on a $60 Hello Kitty drum set, right? But they can still make it sound really good, and it's really cool to watch. That's part of why it's so fun to watch, right? And so between the good musician and the good sound engineer, all right, these two make up about 80% of the equation. And the rest, not nearly as important, okay? So for the two parts at the end of the funnel, the good musician and the good sound engineer, just know, and this might be encouraging to you, or it might be scary to you, depending on how you look at it, that it is pretty much entirely in your hands, okay? So put all that emphasis on yourself, the good musician, good sound engineer. The power's in your hands, all right? Final thoughts. I guess I'd say to kind of put a nice, neat little bow on this whole entire seminar or this whole entire piece here, the musicians, the sound engineers, you guys have the control of everything. And a lot of this comes down to the approach to what you do results in what you get. I'm going to repeat one of those mantras that I threw here near the end here. The maximum preparation allows for maximum creativity, okay? The work that you do beforehand will make it easier and better for everything that comes out on the other side. Take the time to understand yourself, your playing, your musicianship, the instruments that you play. Take the time to understand your creative vision. Find out what you're good at. Find out what you're not good at, okay? We are one gigantic team, whether you're the musician or whether you're the sound engineer, whether you're on this stage or whether you're not. You guys all are a part of this gigantic system working as a team. And so I hope that you guys would take your own role seriously, because chances are you're more important in the whole entire system than what you realize you are. So I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. It's probably longer than what I think because I have a tendency to talk a lot. But I really hope you guys enjoyed everything. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or call me. I'll try and list the information at the end of this video here. And so, yeah, thanks again for being such awesome people and doing all the great work that you guys do. God's blessings, and we'll see you later.